Is it Christmas, motherfuckers? Because it's time for a second concurrent episode of Off the Deep End, bringing you gifts of joy and happiness as we celebrate the birth of our Lord and Savior, Mass Effect Andromeda. I am your host, Braden Arbitrary Water Redacted. Joining me, as always, is Chris Zombie Pie Redacted, the Liam Costa
of this outfit. What would
of this Tempest.
Okay, I got something for you. A question, Braden. What would be the name of Tali and Garrus's child?
Harris. Next question.
Calibration.
But don't worry, we've brought the main pod back. They don't get to escape, which is why we have Gino, that Pinguino Grieco, the Pellissaria Basail, aka PB. This
You're assigning
party.
sous vide to someone, and they're gonna hate you for it.
No one gets to be sous vide. No one. I just believe in Jesus.
Sous vide, like the cooking method?
No, sous vide, like the Scottish lady who's.
Oh, right.
But also saying that you're sous vide is like getting sous vide.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to make a riff on the escape pod joke. The escape pod. There's no escape pod.
There is no escape pod.
PB
and
lives
you're not
in the escape
fucking
pod.
in the escape pod either.
Yep. This is a game we played, and I'm going to talk about it.
That's right. Also joining us to talk about the video game that we played, but most of you played more than I did because I beat this game back in 2017 and fuck playing the entire thing again, is the Namor Drac of this party, Pete Busby.
Hey, what's going on? I don't remember the people's names, just their shapes, so I can't remember if that's a good one or not.
Drac is Rex, but a grandpa.
Okay, that's pretty good. I'll take that one.
Yeah. And then
finally... Wait. I have a Christmas-related fun fact. A rare topical one. I know. So some people like It's a Wonderful Life. I don't, but whatever. But one of the reasons it's so popular is because in the 70s, the copyright lapsed. They just didn't refile for copyright protection again. So all the TV stations could play it for free. And they did. But when it first came out, it wasn't very popular. So some people think that's why.
It's a holiday classic because it accidentally lapsed into public domain.
Yep.
And it has Jimmy Stewart in it.
It does.
Finally,
Ghost West's own Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah. Finally,
sure.
Every single time she appears on the podcast, an angel gets its wings. It's I'm not going to call you the Cora Harper because that's mean.
Yeah, that was
the Vetra of this podcast.
I can live with that.
M. Palladino.
Hello. The back half of this game can be like 4 hours if you believe in yourself and really don't do anything.
And let Harley play it for you.
Coward.
Work smarter, not harder.
But yes, we've all come to give you, the listeners, the gift of Mass Effect Andromeda coverage once again.
Yay.
After doing so prior. And because you too at home, can join the Patreon and make us play even more questionable video games that sap our will to live by going to patreon.com/deeplistens. If you support the show at the $3 tier, you get access to the Oji-san cast, which we just recorded a new episode of, which will probably be up sometime before the end of the year, about Garzy's Wing.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the will of Garzy's Wing?
Uh-huh.
You'll have to find out.
That's the thing they say.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or like Garbage Wing.
Yeah.
Technically, M is correct.
I don't know.
No,
if it's
you're
that
right.
Bad. Oh, okay.
It is.
It's
you're accurate.
It's something.
Got him.
Yeah. So let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. now that we have finished the game, how do we feel about how it plays? Because I played some more of the game before doing this podcast, and I was like, actually, you know what? The part where you move around and shoot, and you can aim down sights in midair and just hover and blast dudes, it's all right. And then I get to the part where characters talk, and I wish for death.
I think that Gino said this repeatedly, but you can definitely tell where all the money went because I would say the technical issues really start to crop up a lot more, especially with that final sequence.
Yep.
Some of your late game abilities, especially if you're using the, psionic abilities, they start to really have issues like clipping issues for me. As someone who played a Vanguard, I was just constantly dealing with like doing the teleportation move and then I've clipped through a wall and now wait, where is everything? And the planets are still usually the same size, but they're all more empty, which is a problem.
Yeah, the planets just get emptier and emptier the further in you go. The aim down sights and shoot part is still largely fine because you're fighting the same enemies you were at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
They introduce almost no new enemies over the course
There
of
are
the runtime.
there are basically two factions of enemies that you encounter that are also the factions in the multiplayer, and you basically just encounter the same handful of Ket and Remnant enemies for the entire runtime. And bandits.
Yes, but Ket play like the bandits. The Remnant are at least different, kind of. They do introduce
They're generic robot monsters.
introduce a new like Ket variant towards the end of the game, but none of them actually force you to change tactics. There are very few enemies in this game that force you to do anything different and aim down sights if you want to shoot, or if you're a Vanguard like I was playing, like run up on them and then melee them all to death.
Oh wow, people playing as Vanguards in Mass Effect?
Yeah.
The most fun.
I know.
Yeah, because you have an equal balance of gunnery plus psionic abilities.
Shotguns are fun.
I played as a soldier.
Wow.
So did I.
I
Good for
played
you.
against type by intentionally playing the most boring character type.
What difficulty were you all playing on?
Normal.
Because I reduced it to whatever the stupid easy version is.
Yeah.
And then I also, well, Harley did this because Harley was the tech expert of our playthrough. Respected the Vanguard and did the like instantly like jump to an enemy move.
Yeah.
And explode.
Yep.
And that was really effective because enemies just die when you're on stupid easy mode.
Yeah.
You could just teleport around, zip up to enemies. If they don't die in the first hit, you have like a slam.
Yep.
Yeah,
pretty
so
good.
I remember doing that in Mass Effect 2.
Mm-hmm.
It was great.
the difference between your experience and my experience on normal M was not profound. Warping up on enemies that knocks off probably their shields, and then either one or two melee hits kills them.
Okay,
And-
so it wasn't that much of a number difference.
Now, I think I overleveled by the time I got to this because I did side quests like an idiot.
You fool.
How dare you?
You didn't have to do any of that.
I'm kind of in the same situation as Gino. I actually did do some refining, schematicizing, and mining stuff. And I also played the multiplayer.
What?
Why?
Are there
'Cause
still
I-
people playing it?
Was
There
anyone there?
are. There are.
There are people still playing the
Generous.
Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, and that thing's still pretty fun.
That thing's fun.
Fascinating.
This one, the problem is the community is down to the stalwarts. And so I just got my ass kicked over and over again.
Because it's people just playing on the highest difficulty.
Yeah,
Were
sure
they
is.
cool about it?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that checks out.
However, to also echo something about like how I think that this would only really kick in if you played on legendary, but why would you want to do that? Because I bet it's just going to make every battle and every single mission sequence longer because you have to be more careful about when you're just dumping your gun on enemies. Is because there are so few enemy variants, you just figure out what the gimmicks are for every single foe that you face and what the best strategy is, and you just keep repeating it because there's so few enemies. You really don't need to deviate from those effective strategies too often.
And you
don't
don't even
gotta
get
do all
pushed out of
that.
cover that often.
Yeah.
So we didn't really talk about this in the previous podcast, but the enemy and companion AI in this game,
Bad.
it's
It is
bad.
questionable.
Or
I mean, I booted up Mass Effect 2 and also a little bit of Mass Effect 3. Your companions, generally speaking, know when to take cover, when to do suppressive fire, when to pop off abilities, though you usually just switch to them to do a lot of those cooler things. You can't really do that here, and they usually do absolutely nothing. Oftentimes what I would have is Cora would stick into cover and then face the exact wrong direction and just be shooting into the abyss while I'm dealing with a bunch of bullshit.
Or she will do her biotic charge into a group of enemies and then go down.
immediately die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the only way to die is for the AI to run into a crowd of enemies because they don't know what to do.
Now, mercifully, the enemy AI is dog shit. Like, they
They are
don't know
also
to
bad.
pursue you. They don't know when to, like, take the initiative. They just kind of, like, meander in one spot,
They don't
take
even throw
cover,
that many grenades to flush you out.
and then basically, I bet, like, I hate playing the sniper class in these Mass Effect games because it relies on you to be a little more reliant on guns and the worst possible guns there are. But I bet you could just pick people off, and that would probably be a good strategy.
I
But
tried
yeah, they
using a
just
sniper rifle for just a little bit, and I found that the enemies they fidget too much. It's not that
yeah.
they're moving in an intelligible way. It's that they are like bobbing left and right all the time.
Yeah, there's
It's
something wrong with the AI in this game because they just
yeah.
don't do anything for like these big epic battles where you're supposed to stand your ground and deal with wave upon wave of Ket, and it's like they're just kind of like jittering around in a circle.
My
Can I give you
favorite.
a pro
Yeah, go
tip?
ahead. Yes, please do.
Sure.
I got what was basically a sniper rifle that fires grenades.
Ah,
And you just fire that at enemies, and if you miss or if they jitter out of the way, they still explode. And that was pretty
That seems
effective.
pretty useful.
I couldn't
headshot.
tell you what the name of it was.
Well, you can make your own. They give you a mod that turns your guns into grenade launchers.
Maybe that's what it was.
You can turn any gun into a grenade launcher if you want to.
Like
Mm.
ballistically, I guess you could make
Yes.
like grenade bullets, right? Like you couldn't fire a real grenade that far. It's not the right shape.
It's
I
the
mean, the
future.
previous
Pete.
games had tracer
It
rounds.
is.
Of all
It is
things.
the
So-
future. That's a good point.
In
It's
the
a railgun.
codex, it explains how
They shave a little piece off of a big grenade and then fire it
Yeah.
out of a railgun, and that's what does
yeah,
it.
and all the weapons are relying on heat. Oh wait, what? Never mind. You use heat clips now.
If anybody comes to me in real life, if somebody comes within reach of my fists and tells me to read the Mass Effect Andromeda Codex to my face, they're getting a broken nose.
That's honestly pretty restrained. I know you can do worse to a person than a
The
broken nose.
the deep lore of Mass Effect demands.
You just didn't get it. You just gotta read all those codex entries.
I miss so much.
Yeah, it would have made it. It'll if you read the codex, it would have made the story better.
Step 1, stop talking to your family. Step 2, read the codex.
Yeah.
Just one thing I enjoyed of the enemy AI is when those waves and waves of enemies happen, they always come in via dropship, dropping between between 3 and 5 enemies, and they all land in the same place, which means if you spec up the shrapnel blast equivalent,
the flak cannon,
yeah, the flak cannon, you just fire it where they all land because they all land like dummies in the same spot, and it will catch all of them, and will probably kill the entire squad.
Yeah.
If you fire your sniper grenade at them, you
also-
can just blow them up.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
So I really enjoyed that because the dialogue in this game is anticipating you to take time to kill enemies. So you're like, oh my god, they keep coming. How we ever? And I found that with the flak cannon or your patented sniper grenade strategy, the enemies are dead before the dialogue is finished. So it just causes the dialogue to stack up.
It's so funny, actually.
It is.
Because in like some of those final battles, you'll be like, oh my god, this is not the time for banter, and there's like nothing happening because everyone is dead because they die in one hit. It's very amusing.
Yeah, it's like, how will we ever survive this torrent of enemies? And like everyone's dead, and they have to play all of the lines of dialogue to empty space because they were queued. Can't stop it. It's queued up.
Yeah. Yeah. So we all had fun.
Well, we played it.
With the
This was a video game of the year, and
the video game part of the video game is the least offensive part, in my opinion.
Just a question: how many of y'all had? What was the funniest game-breaking bug that you experienced during the back half of this game?
I like it when the enemies go flying.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I mean, it was some of the classic ones because, again, this is Mass Effect. I would say that Mass Effect qualms with whether you're a 2, 1, or 3 person aside, and sometimes there is some weird glitches here and there. There is a sense of technical excellence with Mass Effect that I think, you wouldn't anticipate it. So when I saw the classic, your ally is supposed to be taking cover and then they're just doing squats while in their cover position, like popping up and down, up and down, up and down over and over again while taking fire and then saying the usual lines of like, I'm taking fire or I'm taking damage. Ugh.
Oh, he got mad. Probably because I shot him in the face.
And then that you just hear those same lines over and over again. Yeah.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah.
See, for me, during the final cutscene, the final battle of the game, it crashed.
Yay. Yeah, classic.
It crashed and asked if I wanted to send a bug report.
Did you?
No.
They need to know about that. Yeah.
Oh, actually, no.
Closed BioWare Montreal studio needs to know.
So, do non-game breaking bug count? Can I drop some of those that didn't actually break the game and cause it to reboot? I had one cutscene where Liam, Liam and Jal were hanging out, and Liam, both of them were shirtless,
and they were naked. Yeah,
they were naked because they were comparing the armor that they wear, and a second naked Jal spawned.
Yes.
In the middle of the desk that they were looking at. So there was one naked Jal embedded in the desk, and then regular naked Jal who was talking and animating as normal. And he walked by himself. I took a video of it. It was pretty great. Another fun thing that happened. This wasn't a bug. This might have been user error. I was at one of the outposts, and I was just wandering around, just looking at the outpost. I had created an outpost on Kadara, and I wanted to see, how it was doing. And a shuttle just landed on me, and killed me. It squished me to death.
And,
I got a game
and then
over.
You learned that sometimes the game's autosave is very reliable, and sometimes it is very much not.
This one was an acceptable autosave, but I was just very I was not expecting to get squished to death in this game. And yep, that was one of the only deaths I had, was getting squished to death by a shuttle. I didn't see coming because they come from above. Yeah, so that really showed me that the outpost was alive. You know, it had a real liveliness to it.
Yeah, that's world building. That's
Yeah.
world building.
It's a real shame that Ryder got crushed by that shuttle.
That happened in canon. That's a known fact.
Can I ask, do people know how many Pathfinders there are?
4. I mean, that we know
There's one
of.
for each
Council race.
for arc.
Mhm.
Yeah, for each
Yeah.
arc.
So that's 4. How many
Yeah.
races are there? Okay.
Human, Solarian, Turian, and Asari.
Gotcha.
Krogan don't get them because they're not to be trusted.
Yeah.
Sure. I wouldn't trust a Krogan.
We had to do a genocide on the Krogan. The
You
way they
remember that.
write around the genophage is so fucking
Yeah.
funny. It's just like, oh, we were all in, while we were in cryo, it turns out it was fine. Our
Yeah,
junk
that's
works
crazy.
again.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, that's how they explain away the genophage. Because ostensibly the Andromeda initiative leaves before Mass Effect 3 happens.
Yeah.
So the genophage has not been resolved.
Yeah, so
they
sending a few Krogan would just be a very bleak thing to do to them.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's just the same 20 people out miscarrying over and over and over again.
Well, now you get the exciting of the same 5 Krogan models with slightly different face paint.
Oh man.
You didn't like seeing those a million times?
Yes, the Asari bothered me way more.
Mm-hmm.
The Asari, it's way more obvious that they all have the exact same face except for PB.
Mm-hmm.
Which is maybe why PB has some issues here and there.
Yeah, PB has some issues. And speaking of PB has some issues, how many of you did the loyalty missions?
Oh boy, howdy.
Because
That's
when I played this game back in 2017, I did all the loyalty missions except Liam's.
Why?
Because
what else is there?
It was 2017.
Yeah,
and
like also what else
me there.
is there?
I used to write things on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
mean,
go ahead.
Wait, what?
If the game, like in theory,
yes,
the loyalty missions in previous Mass Effect games were sometimes the highlight of the entire game. There are special missions and sequences and set pieces that exist solely during characters' loyalty missions. So, similarly to Brayden, I did them all. I did all of them.
I didn't do them all this time.
Were any of them worth doing?
No, and there were a couple that were some of the most bizarre creative decisions I've ever seen.
Gil's
we need to talk about Gil, because holy shit.
You had a loyalty mission?
Gil, yes. So, Gil is on the crew of the Tempest. He's not one of your party members, but he's like your logistics guy or something. He's down in the engine room. In his first conversation, he talks to you about how he's gay, and this is a portent.
Is it like relevant? Does it come up in conversation, or does he just introduce himself?
No,
Hi,
he
I'm
just
Gil.
introduces himself. But no, Gil's loyalty mission is one of the weirder quests in this game because it's about his relationship with a childhood friend who's like, I want to have your baby because we're doing a colonialism and we gotta,
Procreate.
procreate.
Right.
Sure.
And Gil's like, I'm not comfortable with that because I am a gay man.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it does not resolve in any satisfying way.
Yeah, that's the tension. The question is raised. Unpacking does not occur.
No.
I see. Okay, so there's that.
It's the one I still remember. Because
I wonder
it's
why.
so weird. I mean, yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
Again, it's the fact that they bring up the idea that they don't want people to be fucking right now. And so apparently everyone on every arc is taking chemical procreation blockers, like all of the colonists. This is something that they reveal. And
because people are still in cryo.
They're in
They don't have
cryo,
enough
and
food.
also we can't be fucking because we need to be building and making these habitats. And once the habitats are established, then we'll turn things off.
Wait,
Okay,
so
sure, yeah.
does it suppress their libido or is it just
Yes.
contraception?
It's
think it's just
implied to be
contraception.
both. Like it's also like no, it's like procreation. Yeah.
Bonus fun fact: they used to give sailors on long voyages saltpeter to stop them from fooling around with each other.
Yeah.
I'm sure that worked out really well.
Boy howdy.
That's why there are
Interesting.
no stereotypes about sailors and homosexuality.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saltpeter knocked that right out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that's a weird one. I did all of them except for Liam's because I don't know what I needed to do to trigger Liam's. I don't care.
Liam's is literally just get all of these planets to 100% viability, and I was like, fuck no.
I did that, but he didn't. There was no like secondary. Liam
what a
wants
shame.
to talk to you. At least that I found.
You
It's
missed
whatever.
out on all of the great Liam content.
Damn.
I liked Jaal.
Really
like
brings the whole
Jaal's
game
loyalty
together.
missions.
You know.
What's Jaws about?
Jaws is about, so the Angara. They're kind of. How do I describe what their whole deal? They're very family oriented and they're very emotional and emotive. They speak with their hands. They have
They're
big
very
families.
Italian, you're saying. An Italian allegory, what you're telling me.
Italegory?
Is this why you picked this one, Gino? Branch out a little bit, man. Come on.
I'm just saying that all of the other ones felt like knockoffs or like worse versions of other loyalty missions I have seen before. Y'all being emotionally available and like talking to you about, hey, like, here's how I feel about you and here's how I feel about our situation and all my people. I mean, the my people stuff is pretty bog standard for Mass Effect. But I enjoyed that their culture, it's the only culture that we have in this game, alien culture, that we don't already know inside and out from the first 3 games. So at least getting it felt like, Mass Effect 1, 2, or 3, where you're getting these missions that are fleshing out this culture that you otherwise didn't know. And so it's the only one of these missions that has that thread to it. Like when he shows you his family and he's like, oh, the Angara I have 6 mothers. And he's like, what? Your writer's like, huh? And he's like, well, I have 1 biological mother, but we raise in like family units. So I functionally have 6 mothers. I never knew my dad. And if you do his loyalty missions, he eventually like takes you home to meet his family. And his family is like this giant, like 30-person room of Angara, all of them giving you a hard time and giving him a hard time and saying hi. It's good. And then he takes you to his room, and his room has like a little star chart that he made because he's kind of bookish and quiet. He's like, this is kind of the only place I got to be by myself. I love my family, but they could be a lot. I was like, get this.
Jaal's mission, it's a pretty involved process. I believe it's called like the Flesh and Blood mission. So
it sounds scary.
Yeah, it's you learn about this guy called, what's his name? Aksul? Like the leader of the Rokar, which are a faction of Angara, and it turns out that the Angara have a racist faction.
Yep. They've got a xenophobic faction.
They've got a xenophobic faction.
Was that a secret?
You have
Thought
to
we
fight
knew that.
them. Well,
You got to fight them.
This is where you meet their leader.
Mm.
And he's like, "Hey, yo, I'm an Angara, and I feel like the resistance. When it's no more time talking about peace and tranquility, we got to kill some people. And also, I don't like you because you're from a different galaxy."
Well, he
And
tried to. If you don't stop him, he's going to do a planned. He's going to frame the people from the Milky Way. He's going to
Yeah.
blow up their own cultural site and then
Yeah.
frame the Milky Way people. So
Yeah,
that
he's
go to
gonna-
a
it's
false
a race
flag.
war.
yeah,
He's
he
gonna do a
Okay.
he
false
plots
flag.
to destroy the Forge, which is the birthplace of the Angara, and then blame it on the Initiative. And so you have to stop a terrorism from happening.
Who's the initiative?
The
The
Initiative is us.
Andromeda Initiative.
The Milky Way
Gotcha.
people.
We're the initiative. Got it.
And because this is a BioWare dialogue system dilemma simulation, trolley simulation, you beat our good boy Aksul, who again was gonna commit a genocide and then blame it on us. And Jal decides, yo, let's give him a second chance.
Sure.
He's so. The way that this resolves is he's going to do a false flag and blow up their cultural site and kill a bunch of people. So you need to, try to talk him down, and Jal tries to talk him down, and he's like, ah ha ha, well, my cause is good and just and righteous. And then he pulls a gun, and then you pull a gun on him, and he goes, please, I beg for you to martyr me right now in front of all of these people. So he begs for you to kill him. Then he threatens to kill Jal and pulls a gun on Jal. And you get a prompt to shoot him or not shoot him. I assume if you shoot him, it's bad. I didn't shoot him, so he shot Jal in the cheek and gave him a scar. But then everyone realized that because Aksul used violence, his cause wasn't righteous. So people abandon him. And then he sends
violence is never justifiable, and
using it means you're wrong.
Yeah,
because this is a spirited debate.
Yes.
So he sends you an email where he apologizes for shooting Jal.
He sends us an email.
Sends an email.
Hey, bro. Sorry about shooting your guy.
He doesn't even send the email to Jal. He sends the email to you.
He sends it to you, and it's like, yeah, maybe being racist is bad.
What is Ryder's email address? It's like pathfinder@hotmail.com or something. Like, how does he even have
it's
this?
like how do all of these people, I mean, this is something that even happened in Mass Effect 2 a little bit. How do all of you people know how to find me as an agent to this like paramilitary organization, and you keep sending me emails? The funny thing, Gino, is if you kill Aksul, Jal will be very upset with you.
Mm-hmm.
Until the next priority ops mission, and then he resets and sends you an email saying, you know what, I'm actually glad you killed him.
Well, that's because like, there's no consequences to anything in this game.
Yeah,
well, it's all gonna be in the sequel, Mass Effect 2 Andromeda. That it's coming out any day now.
Did any of you get the side? Yeah. Did any of you do the side quest with the AI on the ice planet?
No.
There's an evil AI that threatens to like kill a random Angaran, and you have to do a morality check on whether you're going to save the ancient AI or this random Angara. So I saved the AI, and then nothing really came of it. You get a random dialogue line when you talk to Sam once. That's it. Like almost every single side quest in this game, loyalty missions, regular missions, they just end in a wet fart. Did any of you play? Like, did any of you do the quest where the hacker collective, evil hackers?
I remember that. Yeah. I remember that.
What do you remember about it? What do you remember about it?
So there are people who are like, "Oh, we got to stop this AI. We hear that the human Pathfinder uses an AI. That's no good." And then I seem to recall it being resolved in a very unsatisfying way.
There are a
Is
few
this-
things here.
Is this the one
Hackers-
that has Crux? From the collective? What was it? Like they're an outlaw faction, or am I thinking of a different
No,
mission?
that is a different one. It is what Braden said. It is, hey, you've got an AI in your head. We're gonna save you, and like you have to do a bunch of stupid like tracking these people down and side quests and things. And it turns out that the anti-AI faction is like the mom of the people who were in the Overlord DLC
Oh, fucking right.
What?
from Mass Effect 2.
The best
Now I
DLC.
remember. Now I remember.
Highly
This.
acclaimed Mass Effect 2
Listen, people with
DLC.
autism, they're just like the Geth.
And they can do mathematics, right, Braden?
Yeah, that's right. That's why I'm really good at math, and I have unfortunately I don't have the autism that makes me good at math. I'm sorry.
We
Yeah,
cannot
so-
plug Braden into the computer.
You cannot plug me into the computer. The computer will just have strong
Computer just
opinions
gets
about
marginally
Onimusha
worse.
3.
Everything we ask the computer just says Onimusha 3 back at us.
It just says Jean Renault's name over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, she keeps saying my child was hooked up to a machine, an AI, and it did bad things to him. I can't let anyone be hooked up to AI because my son was. And then you have to keep like this dialogue happens. You at some point find their hideout. You can either like figure out their evil plan to destroy all of the quantum computers on the Nexus so that AI doesn't work anymore. By doing violence to the terrorists or by sneakily scanning the right things in the right order. I scanned too many things, so I tripped an alarm, which meant that I had to kill them all, which meant that I couldn't talk this evil hacker out of doing a terrorism. So after I disarmed all of her bombs, she was like, you're controlled by AI. You're just like the people who hurt my son. And then a sniper takes the shot and kills her in the street in cold blood.
Wasn't it?
Jesus
If I remember
Christ.
the DLC right, too, wasn't it his brother that hooked him up to the thing?
Yeah,
His
Yeah.
brother forced,
Yeah.
and then like drip fed him. Remember?
yeah, it's a whole thing. But yeah, they shoot her, and then it cuts back to you just standing right where you were in the cutscene. No body, no blood, no nothing. And then just experience points get allocated to you.
Nice.
Huh.
It's
So
incredible.
some good
Okay.
comes from this after all.
Like that's how
Yep.
every mission ends. Is like they tell you about something, and the dialogue is usually stilted and bad, and then a cutscene happens, and then it just gives you some experience, and nothing about the world changes, except maybe like a random NPC will have an extra line of dialogue.
Yes.
It's pretty.
Reactivity is hard.
It's bleak.
This is why when it was getting close to time to record this podcast, and I was like, we have to play the rest of this game. I don't care about any of the side content, and I don't think any of it is going to matter in the end. And sure enough, there is only one instance of reactivity, and you have to do way too much shit to actually have it matter, which I'm sure we'll talk about when we get to the ending. But yes,
Question about that. So, finding the other arcs. So the only arc you have to find for story reasons is the Solarian one.
Yes.
Yep.
Is finding the other arcs not do anything?
Pretty much no.
No.
So at the end of the game,
Yeah.
there is one character death, basically in the entire cast of characters. And if you find all of the arcs, having all the pathfinders lets you save that character.
Yep.
But there are cutscenes with all the pathfinders in it. If you save them, are they just not there in your game?
Yes.
Do they not show up?
The Solarian one has most of the dialogue, so
Okay.
I assume that she just takes all their places. And if you have all of them, maybe it's divided up among them. Who knows?
Not really. The other ones just kind of stand there.
Yep.
In frame.
That makes perfect sense.
So here's my thing. Doing some of these side quests, I think, highlight how confusing and implausible like the framing of our current situation. Like, so for example, I did a mission called Mixed Messages where you're going up to a jail cell and you're delivering a love note to a guy's name's Jim's girlfriend, or so that's what he claims.
Mm-hmm.
And this requires you to go to Kadara, and it's specifically Tartarus, the nightclub in the slums. And before I will talk about what the mission involves, I just was like, wait a minute. Aren't we building planets in an image of a almost utopian society? How the fuck is there already a goddamn nightclub with strippers
There was
and then a
there was a
slum
mutiny. Next
and then
question.
but just all of that.
They
All of that.
defected.
These
Wait.
people, the Nexus got there 18 months before you did,
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
and
But before the
in that
ship with
time,
all of the
they fucked
interesting
everything
aliens
up,
could get.
and
Yeah.
half the people left to start their own shantytown bandit slum on the acid planet.
Yeah.
How does their society support that many strippers, though?
Yeah. It's a big
that's a
nightclub,
late
Brayden.
stage. That's a late stage society occupation.
Well, you see, Kadara, the acid planet,
Has a lot of drugs.
It has a lot of drugs. There was a port there where the Angara lived, and then Sloane Kelly, the evil exile, showed
the
up,
bandit
and
leader.
she took it over, and she runs a protection racket, and everyone who can't pay protection money has to go to the slums, and that's where they're turning tricks for dollars.
Okay. I guess that works.
Okay, so they prefab
Yeah.
structures, Pete.
Uh-huh.
Prefabricated. So they placed them everywhere, and that's how they built everything on 5 different planets.
It is
in
their
a year?
justification for why you spend a large portion of this game still interacting with the same goobers you were dealing with in the Milky Way.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to make more than 1 or 2 new alien races that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
It's implausible. It is messed up that in 18
That's the
months,
implausible part.
well, I think to the point I think Pete was going for is just it's been, so people got there 18 months ago. Things were
Yeah.
okay for a little bit. Then there was a mutiny. Then the people who mutinied somehow scattered to the winds to a bunch of different planets and survived. They can't
And
eat
then
the
also
food.
decided that we want to have this be like a pirate slum.
Yeah.
That's more my point.
Yeah.
Going to some of these environments, how did this how does this happen?
It's
Why is
almost
this
like
here?
all of this is narrative shorthand because let's say, I don't know, the final story, because of development issues, the final story was not put together until the last 18 months of development.
Yeah, they just
perhaps, let's
Nah,
say.
that can't be it.
No.
the planets, boy oh boy, the further you go in, the planets become bleaker and bleaker and bleaker.
Yeah,
terms of-
yeah. So we did the first 2 planets. We did Eos and then the ice planet,
Vold.
whose name I forgot. Volan.
Old.
And then there are what?
There's
4?
Havarl, the run everywhere on your feet
Yeah.
planet, that has a small map, mercifully. There's Kadara, which is the acid planet,
Yeah.
which is
Got a
too
lot of
big.
crime people.
There's that moon with low gravity and no atmosphere where you just go to different domes.
And
Yeah,
one mission
right.
on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's one mission on it.
Can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
Sure.
Please.
I saw so little of this game that one of the planets, like the last one on the list, was just listed as unknown because I never actually went there.
You don't have to go to Eladin. They
Yeah.
never force you to go there. And there's a
No.
good reason. There's nothing there. It's a desert planet. It's another desert planet. This is a heat desert planet instead of a radiation desert planet.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Desert
Um,
classic.
And you can go there to learn about New Tachanka, the new Krogan colony. But you don't need
Hell
to do
yeah,
any
new
of it.
Tachanka.
And that is probably the worst planet.
Old
Yeah.
to go
Tachanka went
around.
so well, so new one's gonna be
Yeah.
great.
It's so much bigger than all the other planets, and you have to drive so much more to get to anything that's relevant. It sucks so bad.
And it's very empty. It's
And
very empty.
It's got the same problem that Vold does, where because it's an atmospheric problem, you're just constantly being told by Sam, "It's hot out. Watch out." Oh, it's normal temperature now. You're good.
Oh, annoying. It's terrible. I wish you could turn
Sam-
it off.
Sam is I had forgotten how annoying Sam is.
It would be fine if they just trusted that the UI elements and all the blinking sirens and lights that they've made to tell you, watch out, it's too cold, or watch out, it's too hot, was enough. But they don't. They think you're a moron. And so Sam has to
No.
tell you every time. And the heat changes with whether you're in shade or not. So if you
Yeah.
just drive through shade, it'll go, oh, it's too hot. No, you're good. Oh, it's too hot again. In 20 seconds.
Yeah. Did you do any of the upgrades to your vehicle?
Yes, it made it more tolerable because I
Why?
could boost more.
Yeah, you can boost more. You can do more of the traversal stuff more easily and readily.
That's that's like being super into the gummy flight parts of Kingdom Hearts. Like, why am I even bothering?
You
I'm
bite
not
your
into
tongue.
it.
I mean,
How dare you?
that you're going to be doing a lot of driving around. You might as well make the car 10% more tolerable.
Yes, I'm gonna drive around a lot. I might as well make the car faster.
Yeah.
But not that much faster.
No, but it's all they
No.
gave me. It's all they allow.
No, if you wanted to go any faster, it would break the texture streaming or something.
Oh, speaking of breaking the texture streaming, why does every fucking place that you go to have 5 loads that you need to hold down? The opening doors to get to the next section takes so damn
Opening
long
doors
in some
take
of these.
so long.
PlayStation 4 and Xbox One were underpowered consoles.
Opening the doors in Kadara, I swear it's 10 seconds per door.
That was literally the one I was thinking of. Kadara has a terrible load time problem.
Not on PC, it doesn't.
Mm.
I'm on a
You still have to button
PS5.
through shit, though.
It's a lot of weird
I'll say
stuff.
this: the game doesn't look bad. Some of the
No.
environments look very good.
I did like that planet. Like you said, you go to that planet that's basically been exploded, and it was supposed to be the planet for the Turians, but it turns out that someone decided basically nuke the entire planet, and it's kind of fun to check that out. It's there's climactic changes with each of these planets. This is kind of cool. And there's
Should've
not
put
a
the
lot to do
Krogan
there,
there.
so you can just appreciate the visuals.
Yeah, it's like buggying around on the moon, and that's kind of fun.
Mhm.
It's a shame it's almost completely empty.
Yeah,
I think that's the
there's-
point, though.
there are
But yes,
2 quests on it.
yeah, merciful.
Yeah,
Here's a
yeah,
cool
you
set
know,
piece. Let's move on.
honestly, a planet that only has 2 missions on it and is used appropriately and then tells you you don't need to come back. What a revelation, because every other planet in this game is throwing side quests at you every 2 seconds. Someone's running up to the Pathfinder to tell them, "Hey, I need help finding my dog." "Hey, Pathfinder, I've got space madness. Help."
Yeah.
That's
A
a
lot of
thing.
madness going around.
You gotta fill those maps with something.
On Eladin, the scavengers, the space outlaws there, they all talk about wanting to eat each other's skin, and you have to scan them to find out what's going on with their brains.
They got space
Oh.
madness.
But just the skin?
I walked past 2 different space outlaws threatening another space outlaw with eating their skin.
Gross.
You remember
Yeah.
that when it happens.
That's the least healthy part of a space outlaw too. It's where all the fat
Yeah.
is.
I know, and you can't even eat a Turian space outlaw's skin.
No, but to get to
No, it's like
Gino's
eating
point,
beef jerky, but like
you do
really
see
dry.
a lot of the same repeating NPC conversations because I guess not I guess. You learn very quickly there's not a lot and they didn't do enough of them. So they just repeat them over and
Yep.
over again. And if there's something to be said about Mass Effect 2 and 3 is when you go into a new environment and you start hearing NPCs interact, when you reach the end, normally they just stop and then they don't talk anymore. But they didn't do that in this game.
I mean, the wild thing to me is that like they go to the trouble of introducing all the initiative leaders and all these different factions and faction leaders. Most of those leaders at most talk to you like 4 or 5 times over the course of the whole game in ways that feel relevant and don't feel like side quest chaff. And just because none of the cutscenes and none of the story moments have weight, it just feels like I can't believe that they got Kumail Nanjiani to voice this character who barely does anything.
It all bleeds together into a mush.
Yes.
Whereas, there's plenty of stuff in the original trilogy that is like, filler or just kind of chaff. But I still remember a lot of it.
Yeah.
And I haven't played those games in like 12 years.
Yeah. I actually wanted to do like side stuff in 2 and 3, but in this one I'm like, what is the point? Why would I do any of this side content that I know doesn't matter, is going to be terrible, and isn't going to like do anything long term?
And
Let's
I did
go.
it. I did. Gosh darn it! I did as much of it as I could. I got all of those
You wouldn't
planets to
have to do all that.
100% viability. And let me tell you,
Mm.
if you do that, you just do the same missions over and over and over again. Like,
Really?
Shock.
look, you gotta go to the planet, and you gotta activate 3 pylons, and then you gotta go to the vault. And the vaults are very samey, and you do those missions, and that gets you like 40% viability right there. You have to do some fetch quests. You have to do some run to this waypoint, and then, darn it, the thing you want is not there. Go to the next waypoint. You got to do some scanning, and nothing matters.
Remember that part in Mass Effect 2 where you're dealing with the criminals who are giving people drugs to enhance their biotic capabilities?
Yeah.
And there's that bit where that Volus is like, I am a biotic god.
Hmm.
And then he
Just-
throws like a little tiny cup at you and then falls over.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I remember that. I haven't played Mass Effect 2 probably since around 2011.
Like the other weird thing is like other than the pirate planet, the only way I can really describe a planet is the temperature and or look of it rather than what is experienced there, because all of these side quests are so cookie cutter and by the numbers. It's almost as if they're just like taking different missions that we've played in every single previous Mass Effect game and like just white out the names and replace them with something different and then like hodgepodge it
Yeah,
because we got to put
it's
stuff here.
it's the knockoff version of everything you liked in Mass Effects 1, 2, and 3,
Yeah.
except far worse in every respect.
Except even worse than that, like in Mass Effects 1, 2, and 3, I mean, 1, there's some ride around on a planet and maybe you run into some side quests, like a little bit in Mass Effect 1. That is not a thing in 2 and 3. This has all of the like open world jank that was pretty common in 2017. And then also has these knockoff quests. So like as you're trying to get to your knockoff quest, you are getting jumped by bandits, and someone's like, "Hey, we should really check out that bandit camp," and then you just drive right past it because why would you ever go into the bandit camp? But if you did go into the bandit camp, it would give you another side quest that is like destroy 3 bandit camps. And they are just constantly bombarding you with notifications and distractions and stuff that goes into your little tasks folder. because it's almost never super relevant, and it
It
usually
is
gives you
the
almost nothing.
worst kind of open world chaff.
Yeah. They are just yelling at you. Your people in your ship as you are driving around in your fake Mako, your Fako. They are just shouting, "Hey, there's a dropship! Oh man, there's ruins over there!" And you don't have to go to any of them. There's no reason to go to any of them
But
ever.
if you do, you'll get slightly more resources to craft things you don't need.
Those guns are bad.
You can make a slightly upgraded version of the gun you already have.
It's not good. You don't feel
Make number
distinct.
go up.
You can make it shoot ice now.
Oh,
Oh, thank
Ooh,
goodness.
ice.
hold
That's
on. Let's
exciting.
talk about that more.
You can mod the guns to shoot elements.
You can.
It's not worth it, but you can.
Does
I mean,
the
And
That's
fire.
all.
does the Arbiter have some sort of elemental weaknesses?
oh god, we have to talk about the Arbiter.
The-
So let's
You
talk
mean-
about the story.
The Archon, dang it.
The
Oh,
Archon, the
I'm
Arbiter,
sorry.
the Halo.
Archon Bitter.
Archon.
I'm sure we're all very upset about that mistake I just made.
How
I'm
dare you,
disappointed in
Pete?
you.
The deep lore of Mass Effect and Andromeda needs
Surrender
to be
or
respected.
burn.
How
I
dare
wish
you
we were playing
confuse
Halo 2.
Yeah, how dare you confuse beloved Halo 2 character, the Archon.
Keith David versus
Alien McAlien face. I don't know what
evil rubber face alien.
Oh, it's Robert Kaczynski does the Archon.
for
Okay.
him. Way to
Sure.
get that check. Probably paid for some heating bills. Story missions. So, like, I thought that there'd be more of them. You know, when we
No.
stopped at Vold,
Yeah.
there's only like 3
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, exactly. This is why the back half of this game could be like 4 hours if you really just do the main story stuff.
Yeah, they just send you. They send you to find the Archon where he's hanging out, and it turns out he's hanging out on the Solarian base. You go there. He jabs you with a needle. And wouldn't you know it, the gene-stealing aliens are experimenting on Solarians.
Mm-hmm.
I love how long the Pathfinder's like, what are they doing to the Solarians? Oh my good, what could they possibly be doing with them? Where
What
are
could
they?
be doing?
What?
And it's like, dumbass, we've been dealing with these aliens for a while now.
Like chopsticks.
What do you think they're doing? They're gene stealers. What? Okay, sure. Dumbass.
It's a mystery.
You have an
Isn't it a
artificial
mystery?
intelligence in your brain telling you everything.
Yeah.
Literally, the
Also,
only
the
interesting thing
Tet
about
want
this
your
game.
SAM node because they're like, oh, look, your AI can unlock all of the ancient alien technology, and we're going to use that to make the planets even more uninhabitable for reasons that are never fully explained.
Speaking of this, like, this is just a minor quibble now that Gino dropped the whole thing of like the Solarians with the aliens, and the AI assisted moron. I swear to fucking God, why does your character who has an AI in their head need to go all the way the fuck back into the ship to check their fucking emails? Why can't I just have the robot chip in my head pull that shit up?
Why is he getting so many emails?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, all of that information that I have to use a
Here.
terminal for? Isn't that why
I'll
I
tell
have
you
a
why.
piece
You
of
wanna
shit
know
in my
why?
head?
Yes.
You
I
want to
do.
know why?
Why?
Because we didn't voice act those. Yeah.
Oh.
You have to read them on the terminal because we only had these voice actors for so long, and we had to write like 50 emails.
Yeah. Hey,
Sam
remember
would have
the
had to read
part
them.
where you go to your dad's quarters and you get there's an audio message from Liara
Yes.
just to remind you, hey, remember
Yeah,
the
remember
first
Mass Effect?
trilogy? Remember Liara? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, the thing that I really like about you needing to read your email, I like to think that you've just got a really great passphrase, and Sam can't get in there, even though he can see through your eyes.
Yeah.
He literally sees every thought running through your head, but yeah, he can't send you a fucking AI assisted moron. Like they put the SAM in Ryder's head, and then Ryder was like, I guess I won't finish the authentication process. I'll save that for next time.
2-factor. Go to hell.
Yeah, just running around. The Solarian base sucks. Like, you find the Archon, he jabs you. He's like, I've put a tracker in you. Ah ha 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 ha. And you're super restrained, so there's nothing you can do about it. And do you remember how you get out of the restraints?
How could I forget?
How Hero's Journey are we gonna get, folks?
Oh yeah,
So-
we're rebooting.
In order to get out of this, the force field you're contained in is tuned to your biometrics. And so once you die, you won't be contained anymore. And so Sam
What?
stops your heart and you die for a little bit.
No!
Oh my god.
I
And
can't-
then you just get fucking jump started and you're fine.
And then they
No
try to steal your
repercussions from that.
sibling's brain
Mm-hmm.
I love that
because
the answer's to turn you off and turn you back on again.
yeah,
Yeah. Hey, remember when they, like, the big thing about Mass Effect 2 is they killed Shepard and then they had to bring him back, and that was like a big shocking moment. Like, oh shit, that's how the game starts? They kind of tried to do that here, but, you know, worse.
Can't believe they killed the protagonist and brought them back to life in the Hero's Journey story.
So, anyways, the Archon and the whole plot twists with the cat. Ah, fuck.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So we've already talked about the Big Whopper, which is the Ket are just a modified version of the Angara.
Yes.
Well, some of the Ket are modified
Some.
Angara. The mooks that you shoot a lot, for the most part.
And then we find out that the big thing that the Archon is trying to do is gather new species to make them available to the Exaltation, which can only happen in their home world, which is Sars. I forget what it is. I remember it started with the letter S, but basically it's some sort of process where other species are converted into new Kets, and it's the way that they
so
get around.
A genocidal alien who is collecting, one might say,
Yeah.
Alien DNA in order to improve their own prowess. Like perhaps
but
they are
specifically,
reaping
Braden,
through.
Once they take their DNA, they convert them into this kind of hive mind alien bug-looking species.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah.
And then at the end, you fight a stupid giant Terminator baby.
Yeah.
No,
sorry.
mercifully, no, not this time. But
Well-
there is a big dumb boss battle that we'll talk
Yeah.
about later.
Big dumb
but-
Hydra.
Yeah.
Man. So, like, when you find the terminals that say, like, what the Ket like about each of the Milky Way races, and it's just to what you were alluding to, Braden, it just feels like stupid Reaper shit. Again, like, it feels like the Reapers and the Collectors, but worse. All of it worse. And every single moment you are dealing with it sucks. It's all the most obvious stuff. It's like, the Solarians sure seem smart. The Asari, wow, they've got biotic powers. That seems useful. Krogan, they're super hardy. It's just a breakdown that you learned in the first 5 minutes of playing Mass Effect 1 again. And then you fight a Krogan who got ketified.
Yep.
He got that ketamine.
Yep.
And now he's too powerful. And then you get a stupid, a very dumb moral choice. Do you save the Solarian Pathfinder or some random Krogans?
Yeah, it's, really thinking about that one long and hard, right?
Yeah.
Who did
Brack
you
is mad
save?
at you.
Mm-hmm.
The
Did
Krogans
anyone
have been
not-
through a lot.
Did anyone not save the Pathfinder?
No. Why would you save like 6 random Krogans? They're like,
That
oh,
you just
man,
met.
these 6 random Krogans are going to get turned into that Krogan thing that we killed really easily.
Yeah, nothing really bad happened actually. And Drac is mad at you a little bit, and that's about all.
I'm surprised Drax even mad. Like, why would he be mad? He's the most ruthless of all of your crew members. Why would he care?
Those are his guys. Those are his guys.
Those are his guys, Gino.
Realpolitik.
They're his paisans.
Oh, okay. I get it.
We can use a term you're familiar with, Gino.
Mamma mia.
La Familia.
A Costa
I'm
Nostra.
That was funny.
Like when I first played this game, I thought that okay, so weird like religious zealot leading the cat, cool. So this is gonna have some sort of tie-in with the remnant, right?
Yeah.
And no, which is maybe the most bizarre choice because the second faction, the remnant, there's a lot of lore building about like how they are an ancient, they're artifacts of an ancient civilization for this galaxy that has been extinguished or died, and nothing happens.
Yeah, you find out, like, you go to the remnant, you find the place where the remnant.
Our the command center, basically, their
command
big
center.
AI center.
And in there you find the Angara have been made by the remnant. They're an engineered race. And Jal feels a way about that, kinda. And you have to fight a bunch of remnant, and that mission's long and looks like a Halo level.
It sure does. Boy, it sure does.
And you just fight more Ket and remnant and Ket and remnant. And then at the end of it, they're like, "Oh, we can't use this place so good." Oh, I guess you do get Is this where you lose Sam? Or no, that's when you return.
Yeah.
Brain
We're
jack.
skipping a step here.
You go
but
to
yes.
Meridian, or
Meridian. You go
what
to
you think is Meridian.
yeah, and you can't like turn it on to stop the Ket from blowing it up, and then you have to do one more mission, which is to scan like 3 things. And then you go back to Meridian. I like that they don't make you go back. They don't make you do anything else. They're just like, I don't know, scan 3 things, and then next mission pops up. Like, yeah, we're tired of this too. We also think this game should end. Oh man, how'd you like the last Meridian mission, y'all?
Yeah.
I will
It was
say
the last one.
it certainly was the last one. As far as like actually like doing things that are interesting, kind of had some interesting stuff that the rest of the game did not have. You know, like some of those cutscenes were okay.
It has ideas. You can
Yeah,
tell that
there are
you know,
ideas.
they
I
put
mean-
some of the budget for the last Meridian sequence.
I liked that your character Ryder loses access to Sam, but realizes that they have learned how to control the remnant without Sam, but it makes their head hurt when they do it. So they can only do it a few times.
But nothing bad actually happens to you because
No.
of that.
No. You get a
You're-
nosebleed one time.
Yeah, your head could have exploded at the end of this game. Like, if they wanted to really drive that home.
Good. Let it happen.
It would have been great. But yeah, I mean, the things that we're talking about, the like different stuff is, hey, guess what? Meridian's a ring world, and you need to drive your warthog through it as it explodes around you. Wait, sorry. Your Mako through it as it explodes around you on a very narrow pathway, which is really the only direction you can go. And then you park it, and you get out, and you get into gunfights with these aliens that are a collective of religious zealots. And they just keep throwing more waves of enemies at you, and then you fight a big Hydra. Pete, how'd you like the big Hydra?
I mean, look, it was a big Hydra. You know, I'm not going to act like it wasn't.
Did any of you fight the big Hydras outside of that battle?
There were other big Hydras?
Yeah.
Apparently, if you did any of the side content, you could have fought like 8 of those things.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
one was enough.
Yeah, they're a real
They're
pain
on
in the
all the
ass when you're
planets.
not at the level that you're at when you try it at the end of the game.
They're just annoying. Like they're a multi-sequence battle, and they're not that difficult or fun to fight.
But it's basically their version of the giant sandworm sequence in Mass Effect 2 to a degree. Again, pulling from a playbook of ideas.
Yeah.
Except
And remember better
way
Mass
more
Effect
annoying.
games.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And yeah, the Archon, he brainjacks your sibling, and your sibling's like, I'm gonna hack you back. And yeah, you turn off the power going to him, and he's weakened, and you kill him.
Well,
Yeah.
we also find that the Ket are not as unified prior to this mission. We find the
Yeah.
Ket are not as unified as we assumed because there's the second in command Primus, who like basically parlays with Ryder and it's like, hey, secretly, we're dealing with a civil war, so if you kill this guy, I'll give you the kill code for his entire ship. And we won't be as big a dicks about you trying to be in this galaxy as he was.
I'm sure
it'd be
that'll
great
pay
if that
off.
was set up in any.
Yeah.
If that was paid off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I honestly, like, considering that that's what ends up happening with the story, I wonder what they would have done to, like, continue this story. Is it just, like, finding out the Remnant?
I think so.
And then,
That's the only thread, really.
And then the
Ket-
Remnant are going to lead to their own version of this galaxy. Also has a weird space race
It's the
that wants to
Reapers
kill
2. The sequel to Reapers.
Like,
They're back.
I prefer Children of the Corn, personally.
But yeah, so big boss battle.
The only difference for you was that the captain of the Hyperion dies. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Literally,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Do they sound sad that she's dead?
They don't even mention her. I mean, I believe that in some of the post battle content, someone will be like, "Damn, that sucks." But overall, unmentioned.
Well, don't forget the most important part.
Yes.
At the end of the game,
Mhm.
they're like, "Oh, we finally got a signal from the Quarian Ark.
Yep.
Whoa.
We got to check it out."
Yeah, the Ark ship
at some point,
all the interesting people shows up, in theory.
And then
they canceled that DLC. So
spoilers,
we'll
they
never find
canceled
out.
that DLC and resolved it in like a web comic.
Mm-hmm.
Sick.
The other thing that changes if you do any side content is during that final sequence where you're driving around, you'll get like allies to help you. But I got a bunch of allies even without doing any shit. So it didn't even matter, and also who cares?
So because I was warping everywhere, killing everything in like one hit, when allies showed up, I didn't even realize they were there.
You didn't
I
even
couldn't
notice
even
them.
see. I didn't even notice them. I only like once I noticed. Oh, that's a Solarian.
Mhm.
Hi. What are you
Yeah.
doing here, little guy?
I
seem
saw
lost.
like one Krogan, and I was like, oh, I guess that's from that one thing.
Yeah, but you don't need the help because
Nope.
the battles are trivial. Because all combat in this game's trivial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then did anyone romance? Did anyone get it on?
Yeah.
No.
Tell me about the romance.
Please.
Tell me about PB.
Is it hot?
There's nudity.
There's
Yeah, now we're
nudity.
talking.
It's like significantly more nudity than in the original trilogy.
Yeah, I also romance PB because I heard that there was full frontal, and boy, howdy is there.
That wasn't why I did it. I romanced PB because
You wanted her dead eyes to look into your soul while you boned?
Because she's the closest to the cockpit, and she's always
Is
hanging
that what you
out.
call it, Gino? The cockpit?
Ew.
She's the easiest person to find because she doesn't really move around the ship that much. So it is easy to romance PB because she's just hanging out. Though her side quest has way too many branches. And no, Pete, I don't call it the cockpit.
You should. It's a good
Monster.
nickname.
Yeah. So yeah, there is nudity. You do see boobs.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
right.
that makes the whole thing worth it.
And your character's boobs if you play a lady.
Whoa.
What was the game
Wow.
runtime? Like 20 hours? Totally worth it.
Yeah, you can. I do want to point out there's that guy on the pirate planet who is like the one random romance option in the game. He'll romance you if you're a lady or a man, and he's like bootleg Antonio Banderas.
Ooh.
And you can just ignore him entirely. Every other character in the game, every other romanceable character is on your ship, and then there's just this guy, and it's like, hey, you want a dashing, roguish, bisexual man who is vaguely Spanish? I'm looking at this Funko Pop and I hate it. I'm looking at this picture of this Funko Pop that you sent me, and I dislike it.
They made a Jal Funko Pop. Anyways, the romance sequences in this game seem to be like the worst part of the romances in every single previous BioWare game, where they're shockingly shot and set to moody music to where it feels like I'm watching a cheap pornography. But obviously it's not pornography. And it's like, man, I thought we were better than this. And I thought that even BioWare talked about how they wanted to make not the worst romance scenes that you've ever seen your entire life. But no. No, they're here.
I will say, I hate to be the one to say this, but at this point we had figured out like Overwatch had already revolutionized the 3D pornography scenes.
Yeah.
Yes, the
So
FFM.
if you really wanted to, you do not have to go to such lengths to see PB's titties. You could just like go on the internet, and I'm sure someone has made something.
Yeah, the
far better.
the source filmmaker industrial complex
knows no bounds.
Is
Yes.
very it has what you want if what you want is characters from video games released on the PC doing things with each other that I'm not going to talk about on this podcast. Ask your mom.
Yeah, we'll make it a bonus episode one time.
You joke, but if you open that void, I know a guy.
$100
I
on
have
Patreon.
a co-host. if you give me $100, Chris Zombie Pie Redacted and I will play that one game that I refuse to name.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know which game this is.
Oh, I keep bringing it up, and Braden
the
tells
game
me
that
to
he
shut
keeps
up.
bringing up that people on the internet are like, no, it's actually a really good strategy game. I don't believe them.
It's even in his book of most important RPGs ever made.
Yeah, it's in the CRPG book.
Even though it's a porn.
But specifically pay me $100 a month.
Anyways, so
Not
yeah,
the Patreon,
it's like
me.
BioWare decided to do it again. And
BioWare
also,
Montreal got shut down after this.
Yeah.
You don't say.
Or they're a support studio now. I don't remember.
Actually, let me look that up. But yeah, this was a debacle almost immediately after its release. And no, it was shut down.
Okay.
And it's just kind of been left derelict. Now that it seems like Dragon Age has pivoted to a point where they released a game and it's generally well received other than by the weirdos on the internet. It will be interesting to see what happens with Mass Effect, because that's the next project. Now that Veilguard did not tank, BioWare is working on a new project, and they're shifting all of their resources to it. And even Amazon MGM has said that they're going to do a Mass Effect TV series.
You don't gotta do all that.
So, Mass Effect is relevant again, everybody.
That's right. Hey,
But don't play this
people
one.
liked that Veilguard, so maybe there's hope after all.
Yeah,
Are there any Mass Effect Fortnite skins? Because until that time, I'm not interested.
No, you cannot drop with Garrus Valkyrian, Mariah Carey, Sasuke, and
John
that
Cena.
banana.
Yeah, also
And
the
John
banana.
Cena.
If you want to actually get into Mass Effect, probably just stick with Legendary.
The Legendary
Edition.
Edition is $5 regularly. It is $5 right now as we are recording this.
You could get this game for like $3. I think it was
Yeah,
$2.99 on Steam right now.
It's true.
If you really, really want to play it.
Mass Effect Andromeda, check it out.
Or don't.
Or don't.
No.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
All right, now because this is technically an off the deep end episode, we get to rank this motherfucker.
Oh god.
All right. Okay.
bit.ly/OTDE rank. I forgot to redo the numbering from our last episode.
So wait, does it not have the Coup Solstice games on it?
No, it does. I just need to adjust the...
All right, let's save some time here, Braden. Top 3, bottom 3.
Top 3, Might and Magic 6, The Mandate of Heaven. Still the best game we've played for the podcast. You're welcome. Number 2, The First Suikoden. Number 3, Xenosaga Episode 1. Spoilers, Xenosaga Episode 2, not going to be up there. Bottom 3, Unlimited Saga. The Hateful Machine at the End of the World. Hoshiwo Mirohito. Deeply incompetent nightmare Famicom game. And at the bottom, possibly forever, is Descent to Undermountain, a game that should not be and does not function.
Literally, if you try to use a ladder, the game will break. Yeah. And there's a ladder sequence that by default.
Okay, hold on. I know this isn't my side of the podcast, but I do have a question.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I notice on your list here, there is a game that is pretty closely tied to Mass Effect Andromeda, BioWare's Anthem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was going to say we start.
Yeah, okay.
I would like to know in relation to Anthem where it lands.
I think this game is better than Anthem.
Whoa.
I was actually going to say I think that maybe Anthem is better because Anthem is a functional video game.
No, this is a functional video game.
No,
Most
it's
of it
not.
functions.
What are you talking about? Like, it breaks, like, it's so brittle that it literally breaks upon even the least amount of pressure.
Yeah, but it's also, like, a coherent product, as opposed to a teaser for a live service that never happened. Like, yeah, this game has plenty of open world jank, but it's mostly the funny kind now. As opposed to the game-breaking kind.
They fixed a lot of it.
But
not enough.
But not enough.
They didn't fix Anthem. They didn't make Anthem interesting.
Well, this game isn't super
interesting. This
game
isn't interesting.
This can go above Anthem.
I would put this above Anthem. I would put this below Jade Empire.
You actually are going to put this, putting this above Elex 2, even though it has that Billy Idol concert.
Because here's the thing about Jade Empire.
Yeah.
You can beat that game in first off, how do you feel about Canadian voice actors?
Doing Asians?
And let's say a dudes from Edmonton trying to do their spin on Wuxia. No. I would put this below Jade Empire. And I don't like Jade Empire.
Yeah.
But y'all played this. Y'all played Jade Empire, so I feel like I'm allowed to ask for your input on this.
Did we?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh wait, no,
We
this is
did
before
before
Oh,
you.
before M.
Many moons
this might have
ago.
been pre-M, but
Mm-hmm.
I think
Okay.
Jade Empire's worse. This is better than Jade Empire.
all right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is this better or worse than Jade Empire? Does racism is questionable perhaps
I think I do
unwitting
hate the
racism
1942 gummy ship bullshit in
Yeah.
Jade Empire more than the
better
vehicle
or
stuff here.
worse than
I didn't even remember that part.
open world
Gino.
slop?
Gino.
I mean, let me just throw something out there. I don't know the last time y'all tried to play Jade Empire, but it plays bad. It
Yeah.
sucks to do the combat.
That's
and
why I think
play
it's
it.
worse.
And so I think Mass Effect Andromeda. Look, it's boring and it's dull, and it's repetitive, but the combat is fine.
Shoot's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot's fine.
The shooty part is fine, and honestly, I might be willing to put it up higher just on virtue of that alone, but I feel like there might be some pushback from the individuals on this podcast.
Okay.
What's above
so
it? What's above Jade Empire?
Arabian
What's above
Nights.
Jade Empire? Arabian Nights, which is, let's say, the most generic Super Famicom JRPG that got a fan
has a
translation.
card-based motif.
Yeah.
Cards, you say?
Yeah.
It's ho hum, but it's not terrible in any stretch of the definition. So I think it goes above Jade Empire, but below Arabian Nights.
Sure.
Behold, Mass Effect Andromeda, not
Mass Effect
even
Andromeda, our new
48,
49 or something.
Yeah,
I'll
40
fix
something.
the numbering on this in a bit when we're done recording.
I
Sure.
can't
Mediocre.
believe the like the twin of Anthem that got like choked in the womb by it has surpassed it in the rankings. Personally,
Anthem is a nothing game. That is my thing with Anthem. Anthem is a blank void of a video game.
Okay.
I strongly dislike Anthem because it's like, what if
you didn't
Destiny...
even beat the game?
Yeah, and you did. You did those 3 hours of pointless open world quests, and what did you get from it? Nothing.
I got a cliffhanger ending that leads to a sequel that never happened, similar to this game.
Yeah,
You're describing nothing.
It's just
an
a brand.
empty. It's a void. I think this game is better than Anthem.
This game had. You can see that they wanted to do something here. They couldn't.
Tried.
They just couldn't because Frostbite took them forever to figure out how to make work.
And also BioWare, the main BioWare studio in Edmonton was actively sabotaging them at points.
Mm-hmm.
It was a whole ordeal. So that'll do it for this year with Off the Deep End. We got a Game of the Year podcast that I believe dropping on New Year's Day.
Oh Jesus.
Anyways, don't you guys on the main podcast have some unfinished business to talk about
you have something
and resolve? We did our business, so go ahead. Oh wait, what the fuck are we gonna do as a donation incentive?
Well, we're doing
Lunar Dragon
Song.
Yeah, you guys can pick a podcast game or your next podcast game, but now Gino, Pete, what's the next? You got to figure this out.
We'll figure it out and then we'll announce it.
We talked about some wild.
Duke Nukem Forever was.
Oh man,
having played that game.
It was a 3-way, like we were going to do a poll or something, and It might have been Duke Nukem was on there, and also Gollum was on there.
Oh god.
Oh,
Okay,
right.
so just all the hits.
Yeah, and
Tough
something else.
2025.
So look
Duke
forward to
Nukem and
that.
Gollum, and then the third option, Halo.
Sweet
All right.
death.
Yeah,
The 3rd
you're
option
gonna
is
try to
the
psyop people. It's like, oh no, sure would be a shame if we had to play Metaphor Refantasio.
Oh no! It's like I
Oh
would
no,
reverse incentivize
what if we
people.
played 1,000 Times Resist, a game
I
that
hear
seems
terrible
coded
things.
specifically for your podcast?
You hear terrible things about Balatro.
Yeah.
Play that.
Oh god. No, we already did a pod on Balatro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you weren't there for it. Sorry, Pete.
That's fair.
Yeah. So
well,
One more thing to do. So, y'all, I'm up. I think we can agree it's been a tough year, for any number of reasons. So I think to close things out, we're going to keep it chill. We're going to keep it light. We're going to keep it hopefully fun. All right. So
Please,
I want to
God.
play. No. This is all serious. I'm not being facetious. I want to play Unpacking.
Oh,
Ooh.
okay.
Okay.
Nice. That should be fun.
Yeah. Nice, chill one to finish the year.
Not
Actually
messing with
fun.
us.
hmm
wow.
A novel.
Thank God.
Thank God. Thanks everyone for listening. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Gino. Thank you, Pete. Thank you,
You're
Mel.
welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris Zombie Pie Redacted.
Thank you all
And
for being
thank
here.
you, me, for editing this podcast on
Thanks,
Christmas Eve or
Brandon.
something. Thank you to SuperSex420 for our theme song. You can find them on Bandcamp. And thank you, the listener at home. There's no such thing as cheating in a single-player game, and in fact, it might be suggested if you play Mass Effect Andromeda. Bye!